The highly anticipated Graham network was supposed to go live on October 31st, but now the SEC has crashed that party yet again. The SEC has formally instructed Telegram to halt its sales of its Graham token, saying that its subsidiary Ton Issuer failed to register an early sale of its $1.7 billion worth of tokens. It filed an emergency action on Friday and obtained temporary restraining orders against two offshore entities on the fact that Telegram violated the registration provisions of the Securities Act of 1933. The agency said that Telegram sold 2.9 billion Graham tokens worldwide, with more than 1 billion to U.S. investors without registration. Telegram had already canceled an ICO in May of last year due to regulatory concerns. In a note to investors, Telegram is considering ways to resolve the temporary restraining order from the SEC, including the possibility of postponing the issuance until after the October 31st deadline. Having been in discussions with the SEC for more than a year regarding the Ton project, the company was surprised and disappointed that the SEC chose to file the lawsuit under these circumstances. Ton has the potential to serve as a gateway for crypto assets and related apps to bank the unbanked, as well as becoming the first discovery platform for Web 3.0 applications. But now the SEC threatens to derail the whole project. With more, we're happy to bring back Jeffrey Tucker and Todd Horwitz. So Jeff, let's start off here. Is Telegram even in violation of the Securities Act of 1933? Because Telegram had notified the SEC that both of its $850 million offerings were met under the Rule 506C, where these tokens were sold only to accredited investors. Therefore, the offering was not required to be registered with or qualified by the SEC. So what changed here?
Well, I don't know. I'm not an attorney, but I think your analysis is interesting. What's fascinating about watching this entire sector, this has been going on now for something like 5 or 6 years. You know, the rules are constantly changing, and they're changed ex post. So these entrepreneurs are acting using new technology that nobody knows anything about, that wasn't even in existence before 10 years ago. And they're trying to do cool stuff. And then suddenly regulators just show up and act like they know everything and say, well, I think you're releasing a security. That makes you a bad company. And it's just silly. I mean, they're like trying to stop the future. Blockchain is with us. We've seen how private currencies work. We've seen that these digital companies that exist, are global companies, they're information companies, can tokenize not to give a stake in their profitability, but to give kind of an ownership right in the protocol itself. It's a new category of investing. It's a new category of ownership. And the existing regulations, for God's sake, we're going to cite laws from 1933? I mean, this is getting a little bit absurd. They can slow this down. They can create a lot of carnage. They're not going to stop the future.
I mean, one of the basic tests for a security is the Howey test, which this actually does not qualify as a security. So Todd, let's go over to you and let's take a look at Libra, which is also being strangled by the SEC as well. So a partner over at Andreessen Horowitz is now arguing that the U.S. blocking Libra will have serious national security implications. And this is a very dangerous precedent to start shutting down technology companies before it's even been built, underscoring that Libra competitors are currently being built by China and Russia already. So why is the U.S. so slow to embrace new technology when 3 decades ago it literally pioneered the new internet?
Well, I don't think it's really that it's against new technology. I think the biggest problem here, this is more of a relationship to the Federal Reserve and the free flow of currency and money. Because again, if the crypto space gets going, which is the whole idea behind it, you take out the central banks, you take out the manipulation of currency, you take out the devaluing of currency. So we end up now, because the Fed itself doesn't follow the guidelines that were set in 1913. So here we are now bringing out a new currency, which is why it's popular, especially among libertarians and people like that, because again, it's a free society that determines its own value 24 hours a day through price discovery, with nobody interfering in it. So the reason is you've got the SEC and the Fed trying to keep them away from getting started because they don't like the fact that we could actually replace the currency that's in place now, or the fiat currency system, which is the most manipulated system that there is anyways.
So, Jeffrey, where are we exactly in terms of regulation now? We just had U.S. Senators Brian Schatz and Sherrod Brown, who had apparently pressured payment giants such as Stripe, MasterCard, and Visa to leave Facebook's Libra project. So over in three separate letters, the senators have threatened the payment giants with more scrutiny, not only on Libra payment activities, but on all their payment activities if they continue to associate themselves with Libra. So following these letters, Visa, eBay, Stripe, and MasterCard all announced that they are now leaving the Libra Association. Telegram and Libra are both revolutionary crypto projects, and this is akin to killing Facebook or Twitter back in its own infancy. So isn't this very un-American?
Yes, yes, in a word, yes, it is un-American. And it's even worse to describe. I mean, it's the regulators themselves that are targeting these companies that were in cooperation with Facebook on Libra. And it's been very interesting. I've detected over the last 6 months or something like that, like an intensification of this oversight. For about 3 or 4 years, there was, I wouldn't call it laissez-faire, but there was a little bit more of an attitude of, hey, let's wait and see how this goes. Maybe this isn't so bad. Maybe crypto's the thing of the future and we should tolerate it because look what happens when you overregulate things, you drive the investments out. Something's happened in the last 6 months where this is trying to change. And I think Todd's right. There is starting to get a sense of panic. Wait, this is a completely private system. It's a complete innovation. It's a global system. This is potentially competitive with the entire regulatory state, the central bank, and the whole money monopoly of the government, which has been owned for more than 100 years. So I do think you have here a classic sort of reaction against innovation by legacy holders of power.
Overregulation is killing innovation. It's a fine balance to hold on to. Jeffrey Tucker and Todd Horwitz, thank you both so much for your time.
Thank you.